2022. Friday, 14/10/2022. This is Power Corridor on Law FM 103.9. Power Corridor is a non-partisan platform for discussions aimed at giving clarity, balance, and setting the right agenda for societal change. To join the conversation live or catch up on previous episodes, you want to follow us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Law FM Radio. Facebook.com/Law FM Radio. On Instagram, we are at Law FM Radio. Our Twitter handle is at Law FM_radio. Twitter handle again is at Law FM_radio. You can listen live on our website from anywhere in the world on www.lawfmng.com. www.lawfmng.com. The studio numbers, should you want to call when we open the lines for direct interaction with our guest, the studio numbers are 070-322-77338, 070-322-77338, or 090-9555-1039, 090-9555-1039. You can also send WhatsApp or text messages on those numbers. My name is Gbola Oba, and I'm on social media, facebook.com/Gbola.Oba, facebook.com/Gbola.Oba. My Instagram page is at Gbola Oba. My Twitter handle is at Gbola Oba. Twitter handle Gbola Oba. The Nigerian proverb for today, says, you can't use your hand to force the sun to set. You can't use your hand to force the sun to set. I wonder how anybody who is sane can even attempt that. Summary analysis of some of the major news headlines for today. A court has declared that the APC has no governorship candidate in Adamawa. It's a breaking news story. We will be following it for you. But a court of competent jurisdiction has declared that APC, I guess as a result of the internal democratic challenges the party may have had in choosing its governorship candidate in Adamawa, the court has declared that APC has no governorship candidate in Adamawa. British Prime Minister Liz Truss on Friday dismissed a finance minister, Chancellor of the Exchequer, forcing Kwasi Kwarteng to carry the can for 2 months, sparked by a right-wing economic platform as restive conservatives plotted their own demise. The Chancellor of the Exchequer was dismissed in person by Truss after he rushed back early from international meetings in Washington, multiple media reports said, and she was due later to hold her first Downing Street news conference. It's unfortunate that the Conservative Party has gotten itself into a major mess in the UK, and the UK's government under the Conservative Party has now been defined by instability, treasury. Very unfortunate. Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU on Friday called off its 8-month-old strike. However, the union in a press statement made available to a major newspaper noted that the issues in its disputes with the federal government were not well addressed. The press release, which was signed by the national president of the union, Professor Emmanuel Oshedeke, however, hailed the intervention of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. And lastly, the Court of Appeal in Abuja yesterday declared as illegal and unlawful the abduction and rendition of the Biafran nation agitator and leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, from Kenya to Nigeria, and requested and quashed the entire terrorism charges brought against him by the federal government. Some of us said as much when he was renditioned or illegally, when he was illegally taken from Kenya, or indeed when he was kidnapped from Kenya. Some of us said that any reasonable court anywhere in the world would refuse the Nigerian government the privilege of prosecuting somebody that was illegally gotten. And it's not peculiar, we have to celebrate the Court of Appeal for upholding that precedent that has been established even in favor of a Nigerian that was kidnapped in Lagos to the United States of America, and when he got to America, the FBI wanted to try put him through prosecution, and the Court of Competent Jurisdiction in America told them that because he was not properly extradited from Nigeria, but that he was kidnapped, the guy was told to walk free. There were enormous allegations of drug running and some criminal acts against the chap, but you know what? The circumstance through, in connivance with the then Olusegun Obasanjo government, the circumstance through which the gentleman was kidnapped from one of his business centers in Lagos and taken to America, instructed. So some of us were quoting and referring to that precedent. They thought we were idealistic. Look at all the efforts, all the valuable resources that could have been spent on something much more constructive, now wasted. And they're even not releasing him, claiming that the court only said that he could not be tried based on the kidnap they did in Kenya, but that is not acquitted. I wonder what is this is where we wrap it for this segment. When we're back, we do our literary intro and formally introduce our guest. Thank you.
This is Nigeria's number one law radio station. 103.9.
Hold on tight. I'm Olufemi Pedro.
I'm Omoyele Sowore.
My name is Honorable Hakeem Dixon.
This is Honorable Adekunle Akobada.
I'm Dele Momodu, and you are listening to Law FM 103.9 for knowledge and entertainment. Your only law radio station.
Right here.
I'm Oluwadamlola Emmanuel, the General Manager, Lagos State Waterways Authority, and you're listening to Law FM 103.9 for knowledge and entertainment.
The number one station.
Med Stories with Dr. Jules.
Law meets medicine in this health-inspired program. As a award-winning medical media personality, Dr. Juliet Ofia, also known as Dr. Jules, joins us live to talk about medical stories that impact lives and inspire positive change. Do you have an experience to share? Do you offer support or service in the med space that we need to highlight? Join us as we open the phone lines and let's converse.
Med Stories with Dr. Jules.
Saturdays from 9 to 10 a.m. on Law FM 103.9.
Med Stories with Dr. Jules.
Your story, your power.
The passion to be creative,
Innovative.
to climb higher and take the lead is what drives us on the station that inspires. This is Law FM 103.9 for knowledge and entertainment.
Power Corridor on Law FM 103.9.
Welcome back to Power Corridor on Law FM 103.9 from the heart of Lagos. We have our guest online now, but as it is our tradition, we do a little literary reading before we formally introduce our guest, and we take it on from there. From Olauda Ekwano to the Japa season, well over 200 years of recorded history of Nigerians in United Kingdom. Olauda Ekwano, known for most of his life as Gustavus Vassa, was a writer and abolitionist from, according to his memoir, the Igbo region of the Kingdom of Benin, today's southern Nigeria. Enslaved as a child in Africa, he was taken to the Caribbean and sold as slave to a Royal Navy officer. He was sold twice more, but purchased his freedom in 1766. As a freedman in London, Ekwano supported the British abolitionist movement. He was part of the Sons of Africa, an abolitionist group composed of Africans living in Britain, and he was active amongst the leaders of the anti-slavery trade movement in the 1780s. He published his autobiography, The Interesting Narrative of the Life of Olauda Ekwano, 1789, which depicted the horrors of slavery. It went through 9 editions in his lifetime and helped gain passage of the British Slave Trade Act 1807, which abolished the slave trade. Ekwano married an English woman, Susanna Collin, in 1792, and he had 2 daughters. He died in 1797 in Westminster. It is in the backdrop of this emotional and historic personal story, with the many waves of Nigerians' emigration stories from pre-independence time to this Japa season. Indeed, the fact that the Nigerians in the diaspora send home more than $20 billion annually, but they do not have the right to vote, that our guest today, who is the chairman of the Central Association of Nigerians in the UK, Kano, as it's fondly and shortened called, Mr. Ayo Akinfe, will be talking to us. Good evening, Ayo.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure having you on. We really want to say thank you. I hope it's not too cold now. How's the weather? A British conversation must always start with the weather, is it? Hello?
Hello? This line is not very clear. I can hear you though.
You can hear me well enough?
The weather, it's getting a bit cold here, yeah?
It's getting a bit cold.
Yeah.
You asked for it. It's the season. And I hope in the backdrop of what's happening with the government, what's your take on the seeming instability we are seeing, which is unusual in British, but it does seem that this government is defining itself with some dint of instability. Have anything to chip in on that before we go into the meat of our conversation?
Okay. Sorry, I think I get that question. Were you talking about the dismissal of the Chancellor today?
Yes, the dismissal of the Chancellor of the Exchequer and the seeming instability of Liz Truss's government in the backdrop of the fact that in recent times the Conservative Party, that has always been seen to be kind of more stable relatively to the other party, seems to be defining governors with some dint of instability. Any take on that?
Well, yeah, the government is reeling from one crisis to the other. This cost of living crisis is not helping at all. And as we all know, with the Russia-Ukraine war, we have an energy crisis. I mean, Britain, like most of Western Europe, is highly dependent on Russia for gas, for wheat, and a whole host of products. And with the lack of commerce between the West and Russia, it's pushed up the prices of so many commodities, and that's created inflationary pressures. And the government is just lurching from one crisis to the other. I'll give you a classic example. This has come on the back of just as we're coming out of the COVID lockdown and recession. So the government is short of revenue. So what do? They increase interest rates so that the government can get more revenue from homeowners. But that eases people more. So people are under more pressure. People are being clobbered on all sides. So the councillor just had to go because his mini budget it wasn't well thought out. It wasn't thought through properly.
Okay, we actually invited you today because of something that is more directly affecting Nigerians. The issue of diaspora voting. But before we get into it, there are some other corollary issues affecting Nigerians. Recently, the Home Secretary, I think about 3 days or 4 days ago, the Home Secretary was talking about the fact that Nigerian immigrants in the UK tend to come with many members of their families, that they seemed to be abusing the relatively generous immigration policy of the government. What's your take as the leader of Nigerians, the elected leader of Nigerians in the United Kingdom?
I would like to actually sit down with the Home Secretary to review those figures because they certainly do not match our findings on the ground. Nigerians remit $25 billion home every year. And that just tells you the way our society is structured. Rather than bring family members over here, we tend to send them money. So, you compare us with other migrant communities in the UK, the Indians, the Pakistanis, the Sri Lankans, the Bengalis, the Turks. I think we're very restrained in terms of bringing family members over. So, yes, we would like to sit down with the Home Secretary and review those figures because it doesn't matter our experience.
And I know your office must be doing something regarding getting an appointment to talk it over with her.
Well, it's ironic. Just about 2 weeks ago, we had a meeting with the Home Office and the High Commission at the High Commission building in London.
Northumberland?
Had this matter been raised then, it would have been on the agenda. So yes, we are now probably going to have to schedule another meeting to review this issue.
Another corollary issue that I must talk about before we get into the meat of the topic, the substantive topic, is the issue of the some Nigerian doctors, some newly emigrated Nigerian doctors claiming that their employers that brought them to the UK seemed to be giving them relatively stringent employment conditions relative to doctors engaged directly in the NHS. Has any of your members complained to you about that, or has any new Nigerian migrant doctor in the UK intimated your organ with the fact that they seem to be getting difficult employment situations from some of the companies that came to own them from Nigeria?
Well, we haven't had any official complaints. You see, we have an organization called MANSAC, Medical Association of Nigerian Doctors in Great Britain. They are affiliated to Canon. Most of their members tend to work with the NHS. So we haven't heard anything from them. But yes, you are right, there is a two-tier system. You see, if you're working for the NHS, you're okay. But if you're working with one of these private agencies that brings doctors in from Nigeria, that is where the problem is. So I've heard about this, but nobody has contacted us officially. So yes, we would please implore any Nigerian doctor in the UK who has such issues to please raise it with us, and we will be taking it up with the authorities.
I would want to enjoin you to repeat your last sentence. The reason is that this may be an opportunity for some of those disillusioned Nigerians in the UK to know that beyond their own private efforts or beyond talking to some of these UK tabloid just wanting to sell copies on the back of their stories, they have a machinery that is recognized by the UK government, that is recognized by the Nigerian legation or Nigerian diplomatic establishment in the UK, and that somebody like you, duly elected by all associations of Nigerians, professional associations, cultural associations, traditional associations, and that you may be better placed to help them. So you want to repeat your last sentence, that if
any Nigerian doctor is suffering exploitation in the UK, please contact Kanuk. I will even give them an email address, info@kanukonline.com. Contact us and we will take the matter up on your behalf.
info@Kanuk, Charlie Alpha November United and Kingdom. KanuOnline.com. Thank you. Now let's get into the meat. We are approaching 2023, and the first quarter of 2023 is going to be dramatically important regarding how the next government that will rule Nigeria for the next 4 years from 2023 will be constituted electorally. We know, as you've also alluded to it, that the Nigerian diaspora, for which the UK holds a major role, the Nigerian diaspora contributes a lot to supporting family members, supporting businesses, putting up real estate assets in Nigeria. But ironically, I used to live in the UK, and I often come to the UK, and sometimes when you are in the West End, some days when you are in the West End, you see countries like Congo, countries like Zaire, some small African countries doing their elections, and you see in front of their diplomatic missions or some selected spots in the West End, you see their citizens coming to vote, but Nigerians can't vote. And this is one particular election that is looking like the diaspora is getting very much involved with it. How do you feel about that?
Unfortunately, twice we've had bills before the National Assembly to approve diaspora voting. On both occasions, we lost the vote. Very unfortunate. To me, it's a case of them not appreciating, the members of the National Assembly not appreciating the value of the diaspora. We clearly have got a lot of education to do, because if they knew the value that the diaspora brings to Nigeria, I'm sure they wouldn't vote that way.
Let me put it this way. Is Kanu putting up any effort at all with a view to enlightening parliamentarians to understand that the diaspora contributes a lot to supporting this economy, and it is not fair that you could be getting people's monies and you are not giving them the power of representation or even the power to choose the government of the. Are you making any efforts at all? If you do, what are the efforts you're making?
Okay, I'll let you know. I personally addressed the Nigerian Senate on this matter last year. I spoke with senators with the select committee. I addressed them. We reeled up the figure and the statistics, how much we contribute, how much we remit. We spoke about other things we need to help, like our medical doctors, for instance. They go home every year and they help in hospitals. They offer clinics. Our pharmacists offer drugs. Some of our teachers help with literacy class. We listed everything within the diaspora. I myself, I used to be the president of Ondo Union UK. We're building a student hospital in Ondo. I fundraised for that. Across the board, I know so many diaspora organizations that are offering scholarships to young students. Some are sinking boreholes in villages. Some are providing power to schools. We're doing all sorts. So the National Assembly cannot say they're not aware of this. We've banged on about this for years, and your listeners may want to know that the very first time this bill was presented in the National Assembly, it was the current chair of the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, Honorable Abidjan. He was the one who presented it on our behalf, and unfortunately they voted down. So it's surprising that people are still voting against the diaspora voting. I don't know what they've got to say. We would just like to assure them that they have nothing to fear from the diaspora for the good of all of us.
And in the occasions when they voted down the bills with a diaspora voting rights, were there any reasons given for such votes?
None that I'm aware of. What most people tend to think is that the Nigerian elite is scared of the diaspora. That because the diaspora cannot be bought over with so much infrastructure, they see our vote as being too dangerous, that we won't listen, vote independently, and we won't be that easily influenced. But I don't understand the logic of that. When if you're a politician, surely you want to put out your argument, marshal your case, and let people decide. So, all this fear, it's totally unfounded.
But the irony for me is that a sizable percentage of those who constitute members of the two chambers of the National Assembly, the House of Representatives and the Senate, a sizable percentage of them used to be in the diaspora. A sizable percentage of them have children and relations in the diaspora as we speak. A sizable percentage of Nigerian politicians across the value chain, from the local government stratum to to even the presidency, a number of them used to be. So, in your interactions with some of these persons, do they give any reason why is the legislation to empower the diasporans to vote is not flying?
Their actions are inexplicable. When you ask them or speak with them, they don't really give you any reason. And you look at the actions of some of them, you just marvel. Okay, I'll give you one example. You just touched on it, that a lot of them were trained in the diaspora and lived in the diaspora or have children in the diaspora. I don't know if you recall a few years ago, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Wase, he was chairing a plenary session, and a petition came from the diaspora, and he dismissed it outright. Saying, we don't live in Nigeria. They don't even have a right to have a say, to even air their views.
The way he shut down the honorable representative that wanted to speak to the diaspora issue was so embarrassing that every time I watch it, I just wonder who could have instructed such a visceral loathing, such a visceral hatred.
The funny thing is, we heard that the man actually trained at the Kennedy School of Business in the U.S. You know that?
I wouldn't believe such a man would have been trained anywhere outside the borders of Nigeria, not even in Sudan. With the way he acted that day, you could see the visceral nothing from the way he uttered his. as it is our tradition, we open the lines for people to call in and engage with you. We have even messages on social media platforms. We have a couple of messages here. One says, hashtag power corridor. It's not that the members of the Senate or representatives don't appreciate the contribution of those living in the diaspora. It's because they will not be able to manipulate the votes coming from the diaspora because it comes with accountability. But they know here they can do and undo own votes. Adegboyega Adedeji sent that in on WhatsApp. We want to respond to that. Not that you've not mentioned something akin to it before, but you want to respond directly to it?
Well, we need to move. As our democracy matures, we need to move to a situation whereby politicians can no longer manipulate the populace. So if that is what is scaring them, I would like to believe that a time will come when nobody will be manipulated. Maybe at that stage we will get diaspora voting.
I was actually brainstorming on one occasion with some very intellectually rich characters, and one of them was saying, you know what, the diaspora sends a lot of money to Nigeria, but such monies that they send to members of their families, and most times nothing visible, tangible can be gleaned from such remittances. So it's easy for people not to know that indeed the diaspora is powering the economy. Would it be possible that on the occasions that you people send like medical teams of nurses, doctors, professionals to come and intervene and help in improving the quality of lives of people? Would it be possible that you people also hype it better? Kind of hype it better than you do, or just thinking aloud? How would you respond to that?
Well, I would tell anybody that is already happening. I know for a fact that our doctors, a lot of them, when they have their annual leave, they go to Nigeria. Some of them spend a week or two either working in local hospitals, either going out doing outreach work in rural areas. Some have community projects. People visit IDP camps. People receive all sorts of help from the diaspora. So I don't think there's any state in the federation that can say it does not actually solve the impact of the diaspora in one way or another. We may not be paying money into the federation account, but people do all sorts of build schools, refurbish schools, refurbish hospitals. I mean, that happens non-stop.
In so many ways, the coffers of the federal government gets some change too from the remittances you people make. A couple of months ago, an alumnus of University College Ibadan, based in America, was reported to have sent $1 million, $1 million for the rehabilitation of students' hostels in UCH. That's a lot of money in any currency. And you see, things like this, if you diasporans could be leveraging such acts of charity, goodwill, be banging it and be letting these representatives know that they can't just take you guys for granted. I used to be in your corner, but I get frustrated when you talk about the contributions of diaspora, and even many members of the Nigerian intelligence here don't even recognize. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, first of all, as a UI alumni myself, I followed that UCH story very closely. I was very, very proud of it. Yes, we do that across the board. The second thing I'd like to say is that, we've been pushing for a while that the CBN needs to create a few more instruments so that diaspora can actually invest in addition to the remittances. If you look at countries like India, the Philippines, Brazil, Vietnam, they've got all these instruments whereby diasporas can invest And so on top of the money that goes to friends and family and communities, they pay money into funds which is invested and generates a profit and then is then used invested in infrastructure. So that is how I know it's something NITCOM is looking at and working on, but it's something I'm not going to speed up action on so we can do a lot more in that regard.
And I know, to be honest with you, I can at least say, as somebody who coordinates a group of diasporians who are investing in real estate, social housing, real estate development in the Greater Lagos area, I know that a number of positive projects too are ongoing, across Nigeria that are powered by people in our diaspora. Like I said, there's a social housing project that I'm involved with. The majority shareholding is owned by Nigerians in the Greater London area. And I know that even from sending medical equipment, skilled, coming with the skills, you guys do a lot, but it's just unfortunate. Let me open the lines and let our listeners also contribute. The numbers to call, should you be listening live to this program as it is now, is 070-322-77338, 070-322-77338, or 090 9555 1039, 090 9555 1039. You have another message here. It says, Gbola, you'll be surprised to know that most people in the House of Representatives or Senate have to carry foreign passports and citizenship. Most of them are British or American citizens, etc. But they still are afraid of diaspora vote, but were concerned themselves only with the funds that comes from the diaspora. That is not. I would want to respond to that. That many of them carry second passports, even against the provisions sometimes of the Nigerian Constitution, because there are some offices of state that you're not supposed to carry a second passport if you occupy such offices, but we know that people carry second passports and still occupy those offices. Your response to that?
Even what should be told as well is that they use these passports when they come for medical treatment here. But if you have a British passport, you're entitled to free medical treatment in the UK. They use it over here as well. So, Nigeria, I've always said the problem with Nigeria is Nigeria.
Maybe people have to be shouting them out sometimes. They can't be living the falsehood of, on the one hand, denying the people there the right to be part of governance in Nigeria, but when it's convenient for them and they need medical, like a situation of one of our highly placed senators as we speak, still in detention. I think he's still in detention. I think it's only the wife that has been released on bail and on trial now. When they need medical attention, it's convenient to be there. So you guys may need to be shouting them out some bit. Or what do you think?
Maybe we're a little bit too docile.
Okay. Good evening, caller. Your name, where you're calling from?
My name is Femi. I'm calling from Lagos.
Femi.
I just want to confirm, can our speaker reaffirm that statement to say the total number of defendants with a number out there that is not actually correct?
Ayo.
Yeah.
Did you hear the gentleman? He wants you to.
The number of defendants.
Hello?
What was the actual question about the number of defendants?
Earlier on when when I alluded to the remark of the Home Secretary regarding the fact that Nigerian immigrants in the UK tend to bring family members, you said the reality from what you guys would want to believe is not as lousy as she portrayed it. And the gentleman is calling now and is asking, are you sure that that was what you meant to say when you said it?
Well, we would like to actually sit down with the Home Secretary. See all these stories, a report was standing around. We would like to sit down and study that. First of all, request a copy of that report. Let's go through it. Then we will sit down with them and go through it line by line. So it's very hard to comment on, what was just a comment, given to the media. We'd like to sit down because if you read that, it said that 4,000 Nigerians were issued visas over the last 12 months, and they came with a total of 31,898 dependents. We would like to know where those figures were come from. I really would like to.
If I may chip this in, just to kind of dovetail the question or the inquiry of the last caller, you would want to agree with me that in recent times the percentage of Nigerians, especially professionals, emigrating from Nigeria to places like the UK, Canada, the percentage has really shot up. And most times when the first person gets the beachhead in a place like United Kingdom, as soon as he or she settles well, he or she also comes, brings in the partner and the children. So relative to how we used to travel to the UK, I may want to think that relative to how we used to travel when we would go alone, I may want to think that the new emigrants may be using the system to bring in their spouses and their children far more than we used to do. But I quite get your point that comparing ourselves with, say, the Indians and the Pakistanis and the Bangladeshis, what they have always done from the 80s to the 90s that we used to know. You get to an average grocery shop, the two floors above the grocery shop, you have the Patels, you have the grandparent Patel, the immigrant generation Patel, the UK born Patels, and you could have like 12, 14, 16 people. We never used to do that. I guess people are now replicating that. Maybe that's why the Home Secretary, just thinking aloud, want to respond to that in the backdrop of the question.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, on average, from the figures I've seen, the average Nigerian is bringing like one person. The average student or person who gets to work with is bringing one person. Now, I would like to know if that is excessive, if the Home Office, why does the Home Office consider that excessive? If you bring one person, a spouse or a child, is that unreasonable?
Anyway, you guys are good enough, you are well resourced enough, and you have the tentacles enough to chase her up. So I would want to encourage you guys, about time we unraveled it. If you're listening to us live and you want to ask a question or make a remark or inquire anything from the chairman of the Central Association of Nigerians in the UK, Mr. Ayo Akinfe, the numbers to call are 070 322 77338. 070 322 77338 or 090 9555 1039. 090 9555 1039. Good evening, caller. Your name and where you are calling from, please.
Hello.
Hello. Your name. Hello.
Hello.
Please tune down your radio. Tune down the volume of your radio. Is shutting back into your speaker. Okay, fantastic. Hello. Okay. Numbers to call 07032277338, 07032277338, or 09095551039, 09095551039. Please, when you call, make sure that the volume of the radio set through which you're following the program is totally tuned down. Ayo, thank you for staying on. I guess in the backdrop of the fact that things are as they are, okay, caller, good evening. Okay, that call. In the backdrop of the fact that things are as they are, what are the measures that you people are putting up to get the Diaspora Commission to better enlighten these members of the National Assembly? I have a call for you. Caller, good evening. Your name, please, and where you are calling from.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm calling from Badore.
And your name, please.
My name is Blessed Taiwo.
Okay. Mr. Ayo Akinfe is all yours. You want to ask a question or make your remark? Hello? I think the network is a bit troublesome at his end. Okay, you want to go? You want to respond to my last question before the call came in?
Okay. Yeah, while that gentleman is trying to get back online, with regard to what we're doing with the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, you'll be pleased to know on December the 17th, we are going to have a gala dinner in London. The chair of the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, Abigail Dabri, will be coming. We will sit down with her, we'll do that visit and have a proper summit and go through all these issues, a lot of these issues you've raised. We'll go through them through, and she goes back to Nigeria fully armed with all the issues we want to raise, and is in a position to put it to the National Assembly.
But do you know that many of your former members, many of your emotional kindred are very powerfully playing roles in many areas of life in Nigeria, in Nigeria, from the media to even governance to I think it's about time you people went beyond the Diaspora Commission to unshake some of these persons, and it's the privilege of knowing you and having shared platforms with you over the years, if not decades, that has also gotten me to be able to get you to be guesting on this show. And I have bonds with the diaspora, especially the UK diaspora, where I spent about 20 years of my life or more than. So maybe you guys too need to be working through personalities who were once part of you but still emotionally bonded to the diaspora, and yet can be mouthpieces and strategic vehicles through which you can reach these guys and enlighten them. What do you think about that?
Well, you always go together. I remember when Sheago Agaga was a trade and industry minister. He once came to the UK and proudly told us that he's actually diaspora himself, and he's very proud of his diaspora.
He retired back to the UK. He still lives in the UK now. Although he's a bit on the quiet side, and I don't blame him for that, but his emotional persona functions well more in the UK than even in Nigeria. and he still lives in the UK. After his ministerial service, he returned back to the UK and is still living in the UK. So he's right. And you have many like that. Some, like me, who just decide to stay in Nigeria, but intellectually, emotionally, and in many respects, we wake up to watch British news, read British news, newspapers. I often read daily the economics magazines, daily bulletin, because one's emotional persona is sucked into. So there are so many assets, human assets like that across the regions of Nigeria that you people can work with to also push some of these issues. What say ye to that?
You see, the problem with Nigeria is that a lot of people leave the diaspora with wonderful intentions, full of enthusiasm, full of passion, wanting to do things according to international standards, but they get to Nigeria and they get frustrated. The system just has a way of disabling you. And as a people, I just sometimes wonder how do we let this happen. I mean, let me just give you an example. Somebody who's working with the NHS in the UK will know about customer care, won't they? Will know the acceptance standards you must adhere to. But how come when such people get to Nigerian government hospitals, they are not able to put the best practices, into practice? So, these diasporans who go back, I'm just going to say, they are unable to help us because the system has just disabled them.
That is a bit too fatalistic. You are giving up already. It's like you've assumed that any diaspora that returns to Nigeria will be caught in the web of integrity anemia or service delivery kwashoko of the sort. If that is what I'm understanding, then I would want to let you know that it doesn't seem to be the same as the stories of how the diaspora helped to turn over India, China, and many other societies, culturally and commercially. I would want to respond to my retort to your last submission.
Well, as I've always said, the only problem with Nigeria is Nigeria. If you get to Heathrow Airport, Nigerians will queue, conduct themselves brilliantly. But as soon as that same plane touches down at Murtala Muhammad Airport, they forget the discipline. You understand? So we've got to ask ourselves, what is going on? Why do we just revert back to the worst practices once we get to Nigeria? And until that happens, until we sort that out, that's why I'm not really going to be able to influence things. Because too many of us go back, and when you try to give people say, oh, look at this, this is an Oyibo man. This is an Oyibo woman. They are trying to influence you. I beg you, that's not been the full talk.
Okay, let me quickly run the numbers down for the last time before we close shop for today. 070 322 338 070 322 338 or 090 9555 1039 090 9555 1039. Those are the numbers to call. This is the home stretch we are in now. Ayo, I know you are a very good student of history, and okay, I've got a call for you. This will be the last call for this episode. Your name, please? Oh, sorry about that. I know you're a very good student of history, and you know that many societies have been turned around from the dire strait to what they are now as a result of the active involvement of the diaspora. But with the elected leader of the Nigerian diaspora in the UK feeling as seemingly disillusioned as you are. Okay, a caller, your name please and where you are calling from.
Hello.
Hello. So your last take and we'll wrap it up for today. Ayo.
Okay, yeah. I didn't quite get what that last caller was. I didn't quite get the question.
Unfortunately, his line was bad. I hope we're not having an issue with the network today. It's about 3 or 4 calls like that that's been wasted. Not been able to get the best of. But what's your closing remark?
My closing remark is just Nigerians learn to embrace the diaspora, the reality of the situation now.
But they embrace you guys when they need money now. They quickly call.
Not just when we need money. Embrace us on all levels. There is no reason for anybody to be hostile, for anyone to be hostile to the diaspora. There is no need for anybody to reject diaspora ideas. And, there's no need for anybody to behave like Honorable Wase and say, no, those people are, we don't, how dare they come and talk to us, or how dare they air their views on any issue of national importance. Everybody embrace the diaspora because, foreign direct investment is very scarce these days. The diaspora is probably the surest source of investment in the Nigerian economy.
Mr. Ayo Akinfe, you have been a value adder to our listeners today. We want to believe that you will be multiply rewarded for this service to fatherland. Thank you very much for the opportunity to engage with you live on Power Corridor Law FM 103.9 Lekki, Lagos.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, we hope that elected members of the National Assembly listening to us, we know that if we really want to turn around this economy, if we really, indeed, people in the executive arm of government at the state and federal level, if we really want to turn around the mess that this economy is turning out to be, we need to find a way of incentivizing our diasporans to come and engage with us, not only with their monies, which people, through emotional manipulation, through all the stories you throw at them, not only the monies you get from them, but indeed the ideas and the ways they've been exposed to in progressively and sustainably prosperous societies. We cannot afford to snub these people. That is the reason we brought this episode on for today. As usual, the in-studio mama, whose voice you heard on Wednesday and who engaged with you when I was summoned out of town. At least my mama stood up for me. Wairi Ufigo has been the producer of this episode again. Thank you.
This is Law FM 103.